Rough Riders, I'm Jay Taylor. Today we are doing a quick review and installation on these Rad Sportz wall mount racks for kayaks and stand-up paddleboards and things like that. So my wife and I have started getting into kayaking, and we need a place to store them in our garage. Found these on Amazon, so I thought I'd give them a try, and I thought I'd give you guys a closer look at them and let you know what I thought. So let's take a closer look at these. So when you order these, they come in a relatively small cardboard box wrapped in a plastic bag, along with some wood screws and some anchors, and then the instructions. So as you can see, the rack is a J-shaped sort of rack. You've got a flat with a couple of bends in it, and it mounts up against the wall like that, and then the cradles the kayak here in the arm or the elbow of this rack. It has this foam protection for the kayak, so it's landing on a soft spot. It's basically the same stuff that pool noodles are made out of, and it's just covering this painted steel tubing. It's got a nylon strap, probably about an 1.5 inch, 2 inch nylon strap with a pretty solid buckle that you can use to buckle your kayak in place once you've got it on the rack, so that way it won't fall off. It is on a pivoting steel hook with a rubber coating on the top, and then it's tied into this plastic piece cover cap on the bottom side of the rack. If I say there's going to be a weakness, it's going to be this thing right here, because if that thing pops off or breaks, then your strap may be useless. So we'll see how it holds up over time. The foam is covered up with a nice nylon covering that's got some drawstring on it. So that's the rack. Installation is going to be pretty straightforward. Basically, they give you what looks like about 2.5 inch, maybe 3 inch wood screws. They also give you some anchors for those. If you're going into a stud, then you just use the wood screws straight into the stud, and if you're going into drywall, you use anchors. It looks like it sinks into the stud a good 2 inches, so it should be nice and sturdy on the wall. And I think the instructions, let's see, doesn't give me a whole lot of information on the weight, but I would guess that these things can hold a good 75 pounds pretty comfortably. I'll look up the specs and I'll post those here just so that you have those. But for the kayaks that we've got, my wife has a 12-foot Pungo 120 from Wilderness Systems that weighs 55 pounds, so it should not have a problem with this rack. So let's get on to the installation and get this thing mounted, and then we can get the kayak up there and see how it fits. So while they give you wood screws and anchors to mount the rack, unfortunately the place where I want to mount the first rack, I don't have a stud. And so instead I'm going to use a toggle bolt. I'll show you a close-up of this here in just a second. But what this does is it's basically a butterfly bolt, goes in behind the drywall. You cinch it up against the drywall with this plastic zip tie sort of like thing, and then you can bolt into it, and this will hold up to 238 pounds, so it's more than enough for what the job I've got on hand. So I've already drilled a 1/2 inch hole here for my first mounting location, so I'm just going to feed this in past the drywall, pull it snug so that it's up and down, and then feed this zip tie just like that. And now I can just snap these off, and now I've got a nice secure mounting spot. So now we can put this back together. Okay, that's in there good and snug. We should be able to hang on this thing if we have to. And now all I need to do is measure how far down so I can mount the other one at the same height and install that the same way, and we should be good. So let me finish this installation and then we'll drop the kayak in and see how it does. And I'm hanging on this with all my weight. Okay, with those in place, we should be able to put the kayak up here and see how it holds. So let's do that now. So there it is mounted, and the kayak in place. You can see it sits pretty well. It does look like it's leaning to one side, and I think that's just because the hole is a little more narrow at the tip. If I slid that to the right, it would probably sit a little more level. But it looks like it's cradling it nicely with those straps. It's not going to fall off and hurt anybody. So let's take a look at how well it cradles the kayak from underneath. From this angle, you can see that it cradles the kayak nice. Those bends are perfectly aligned to fit the hole really nicely. You can see it's not touching the back bar at all. And so it's holding it actually really well. It fits nicely on those pads. So there you go. There's the installation process. As you saw from the close-up, it fits the cradle or cradles the kayak really nicely. Overall, I'm pretty happy with it. They seem like they're sturdy racks. So I think it's going to be a good solution for mounting the kayak here up on the wall. So there you go. If you have any questions or comments, please post those below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing. And we'll see you next time here on Rough Riders.